Okay, this is War of the Suns, the Chinese War of Resistance, 1937 to 1945. This is a rules video and we're looking at naval operations. This is quite complicated, far more than I was expecting, so I'm just going to give you an overview of what air and naval do, the naval in this one in particular. So basically what you've got is bases and ports that are on the, see this here with an anchor, that's a port, whereas a naval base will be specifically marked as a naval base, like Port Arthur here. You see it's got that sort of unloading type crane thing next to it, right? So they're anything that existed prior to the start of the conflict are printed on the map. But you can rebuild, well, say rebuild, you can build naval bases if you want, but it costs resource points to do that. And I didn't mention in the last video about construction, I did mention that you can extend a river route by spending resource points on it, but you can also build road and railways using the same mechanism. I'm not going to give you the exact way it's done unless we do a video specifically on construction. Engineering units can do the build, but also regular units can do it as well using resource points in the administration phase. A naval base effectively can base an unlimited number of fleets, whereas a port can only actually base a single fleet. Now the actual naval area itself is broken up into groups. There's the sea zones, these off-board sea zones here, and you've got West Pacific Sea Zone there, Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal, South Sea, Yellow Sea. Okay, you can see they're also marked on the map as well, Yellow Sea, South Sea. So you can really only be, you can be in one area, one sea area. You can't be in multiple sea areas at a time if you're a fleet. Two types of fleet. There's the normal fleet, which is just surface naval vessels, and there's the carrier group. Now the carrier group actually is able to base, for Japanese, 2 aircraft on a carrier group, whereas Americans, if they come in, can do 4 air units off a carrier group. But I'm not sure that American carriers actually come into the normal game. I think it's a political optional variation. Okay, status of a naval vessel can either be ready, that means it's available for a mission, or unready. Now if it's unready, that's because it's already performed a mission. Okay, you can also be damaged if you were damaged in combat by air attack on a naval thing, navy to naval attack, any sort of situation where the naval unit takes damage. It can become inoperative, and it will only be made operative again if appropriate repairs are done to it. Okay. Now, in terms of moving around within the sea groups, I think you can pretty much at the start deploy to any sea zone that you want to. I'd have to double check that one. I'm not entirely sure about that. Missions that the fleets can do, there's several of them. There's like a bombardment one, and you can effectively, if you're in a sea zone, you can nominate a hex next to an enemy ground unit in a coastal thing, and you can conduct a bombardment mission there. Naval units can also travel up these navigable rivers, the ones with the blue lines in here, and you're able to bombard units which are adjacent to the river hex as well. Carriers can launch air strikes against ground units. And if you're doing a carrier strike, you just nominate a hex in the sea zone that you're deployed to and say that the actual aircraft are taking off from this particular point. So it really extends the range of your air units. Anything else? Air units and fleets can operate directly from off-map zones. If you're in the Western Pacific Zone, they're considered to take off and operate from any hex along the right map edge. The Indian Ocean, similar sort of thing, Bay of Bengal. Other missions that naval stuff can do, you can do a sea transport escort. So you're providing combat cover for simply a sea transport move or even an amphibious invasion. You can do a river transport escort, same sort of thing, but along rivers. If two fleets come into contact, there is a fleet-to-fleet combat system that can go on. Sea units can also blockade. They can be, from your nominal position, you can blockade any ports and bases along the coast within 6 hexes of where you're actually deployed. You can attack fleets with bombers. Those can be either carrier-based bombers or land-based bombers. I'll just have a fleet v fleet. You can target and fire at each other. Sea to sea combat is resolved like air to air combat, except no disengagement is allowed. Fleets fly in order of decreasing surface attack strength. Carrier-based units are eliminated if their carrier group is eliminated at the end of the combat sequence. Assume there is a special table for naval combat. That's a surface attack strength. Air and sea attack. Not entirely sure about the actual mechanism behind this sea combat. Right, that'll do as an introduction to naval units and what they can do in the game.